Hello everyone, I'm Necati. Today I'm going to be talking about The Souvenir, directed by Joanna Hogg in 2019. The story is about a film student. In a party, she coincides with Anthony and sees that he is someone who listens to her and gives her useful ideas, unlike her friends, her family, and her teachers. However, she later finds out that he is a drug addict. Nevertheless, their relationship does not come to an end since she has overcommitted herself to Anthony. She is ready to accept him with all of his mistakes. During their relationship, we can frequently witness that Anthony uses psychological violence against her. This makes Julie's situation harder in every aspect. But still, she wants to be with him since she loves him. Also, he introduces her to the arts and somewhat teaches her how to think by different perspectives. The film is worth being evaluated from different aspects. Joanna Hogg can be accepted as an author just by watching this film. She reflects her own perspective in almost every aspect of the film. Her revolutionary gender perspective, her focus on psychological progress that characters make, and her sense of realism. We can say that this is Hogg's film. Even though techniques she used can be used separately in many films, she is the one that comprehends all of these techniques and uses them all together. Let's talk about sound. The sound usage of the film is really successful. There are both diegetic and non-diegetic sounds in the film. However, diegetic sounds are scarce compared to the non-diegetic ones. She uses classical music as non-diegetic sounds, and she does not use any sound effects. Hogg frequently uses silence such that even when a character learns bad news or something terrible occurs, we hear only silence. For example, when her mother tells her that Anthony is dead, there are no diegetic or non-diegetic sounds. We hear only the character's sound of breath and, of course, silence. This also gives the audience the sensation of realism since we do not hear any music when something terrible happens. Talking about realism, the Souvenir can be called as realistic. First of all, its story is something that we can come across in everyday life. There is no elements that makes the audience say that this only happens in movies. As I mentioned before, the use of sound makes the film even more realistic. The struggles that the characters are going through can be internalized by the audience. Camera positioning and angles are static throughout the film. This gives the sense of calm. In other words, the audience has more time to think and analyze the film. It can be seen that frames are usually far from the character's face. It sometimes stands still even when the character is not in the frame. The main purpose must be to allow the spectator to observe everything independent from the characters. It should be worth noting that the film is directed by a woman filmmaker. This may be the reason that we do not see any sexist acts or words. Remember our discussion about Laura Mulvey's paper, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. She suggests that women are to be objectified in traditional cinema. For example, this is done by showing them in sexual outfit or even naked. In this film, we do not see this kind of objectification. On the contrary, the objectified one is man here, since we do not see any naked female body, while we can see the male one. In addition, Mulvey argues, with the help of Freud's psychoanalytic theory, that in order to remove the threat of castration, female characters must die, or be married at the end of the film. It is interesting that we see that exact opposite in this film. Leading male character, Anthony, dies at the end of the film. In this manner, this film can be accepted as a revolutionary film. And finally, the film also contains some kind of criticism to the capitalism. As we discussed before, the exchange relationship between Julie and her teachers and colleagues leads to the alienation of her. She is someone who wants to make art and change something, but in every point she comes across another obstacle, which most of them is about money. For example, she wants to buy a better camera, but at first she was not able to afford it. When she finally bought, the camera is stolen by Anthony, which is another big obstacle that she faces. Therefore, it is reflected in the film that the capitalist society does not help but prevents characters' psychological improvement. That is for all. Thank you for listening.